back to the channel of calligraphy, the Vietnamese calligraphy. So this is the second part of our tutorial session, and today we will teach you how to perform the most basic techniques. For example, how to perform strokes, alphabet, how to put words together to form sentences, and different things, so that you get better and better. Now you tend to practice the basic ones, and in this video, I'll be the one who show you this. So before coming to the next steps, so I would like to ask you whether you have prepared your brushes, your inks, your seals, your paper, and everything is ready. Just make sure those are on your table so that it's easier for you to practice. And the first thing we're gonna do, it is gonna be the strokes. So the basic strokes, it's the foundation of any other advanced Vietnamese calligraphy techniques. So those are the basics. So keep it up. So basic strokes, okay? So first of all, it's the downward strokes. I'm sorry if my English is not very clear because I don't know if those are specialized words. So just try to understand me, okay? So this is the vertical downward stroke that that you can see it's go big from the beginning and it's go thinner and thinner. It just depends. Each of the time it's gonna be different, but you gotta prepare for this one, right? You see there's a different thing. So this is the first one that I've drawn. So you can see it's very identical. And if you want to do those of the black and white things that I do, so just make sure that your brush is a little bit dry. It's not wetly deep into the ink. And then you just slowly lift the brush a little bit. Just lift it a little bit. And then make sure that you have a fast pull down. And that is how you get the black and white stuff, as you can see here. Get the black and white stuff by press, then lift a little bit and fast going down. You see, you dip it in ink, have brush here, and then you see that's how it works. But if you don't lift it, you're gonna have this something like this, which you don't want. It's like very black. You want something like black and white and then mixed together so that it's create a sense of like natural. It's like you put your emotion in and you have no effort. It's just like when you wear clothes, it's better to looks like you do not spend so much time thinking about how to do it. And similarly with this one, you just press, then lift it up. So now please practice on your own paper so that you have the idea of how to do this. This is one of the most basic one, and either you study calligraphy for 30 years, 40 years, or the whole life, you will still use it in any time that you do calligraphy. Trust me, it's happened in all the letters. Now this is the first strokes. Now it's the second one. It's called horizontal stroke. So you also press here and then pull, push, pull. Right. This is the horizontal one. It's very easy. Similarly, you press at the beginning and then you slowly lift the thing and then make sure that it's go naturally. This is extremely helpful when you do the letter T. So for example, this is my letter T, right? And then the horizontal is gonna allow you to create these things. This is harder to do the black and white stuff here because it's going horizontal rather than if you do downward. It's easier to create the black and white stroke, but it's also okay if you practice it long enough like this. You can still create the black and white stuff, and then it's just easy. You press it, then you lift it, and then it just happened naturally. Just don't try to create those black and white. I've seen some people, especially beginner, they do a stroke like this and they feel like it's ugly here and does not have enough black and white, and they start to draw some black and white effect into that. This will look terrible It's horrible. Never do this one because it's a no, right? Never do this one. Just let it happen naturally, and if it does not happen, it's also fine. If somehow you ended up, if you dip your ink so heavily, and then you ended up with a very dark horizontal line like this, that's fine too. It's a mistake. No one would care, and just go on. Don't try to draw and create the fake effect of having the black and white, because you think that it's beautiful, but it turns out badly. Then never do this. So we have completed two of the most common strokes, and now it comes to the third one, which is the diagonal strokes. So similarly, you press like this. You see, it's really easy. I do it without any effort. You can see that it's the strokes. Press, then lift. Press, lift. Press, lift. It can go left and right. I mean, depends, because right. So in order to do the Vietnamese calligraphy, you need to know the accents, the 6 accents, which is sometimes going up like this, sometimes going down, sometimes it has the dot. So you will study this on your own. I won't teach you this, as I'm not a Vietnamese teacher. But I mean, if you can ask any question in the comments, maybe I'll just reply to your comments. It's very easy. But the course of this video is just showing you how to perform those strokes, not the accents. And now to the harder one, which is some things which involve curve rather than lines. So for example, if I write the word like this, and then it's got the accent here. How to do this one? So actually, you curve this one, and you just like a reverse S. I don't know how to explain this actually, because it just go naturally. You just go. You don't need to press or hold anything. If it's go thin all the way, it's fine. If it's go thick all the way, that's also fine. If it's thick at the beginning and then it's thin at the end, that's also fine. This is gonna be perfectly fine if you just do it without thinking about that. It's a reverse letter S. That's it. So this is kind of easy, and I think this could be self-learned, which needs no more explanation. Now another curvy thingy is this kind of accent. It's like a question mark. So it's like a reverse S, just like this one, but you turn it vertically. So actually you can do this one. It's like writing a number 2, because it looks better, because normally if you write the question mark like this, it won't look nice in calligraphy. It's always nice that you have the little tail here that maybe make it look like number 2. But if you write something like this, it's going to be more artistic and considered better in calligraphy, rather than doing a neat question mark like you normally do. And so similarly to this one, you just do it without any effort. And then you see, you can have the hook here and then just let it go. One tip for you, it's at the beginning, just try a turn the brush. So it's hard to do this one, especially if you are a beginner, but as you become better and better in calligraphy, so you don't just press it and then let it go like this, because it won't look good this way, because the thickness of the start should be wider than the thickness at the end. So this, you can see, you press the thing here, and then you turn 360 degrees, and then you hook it, and that's what great. Sorry guys, there was some technical issues, so now welcome back. Where are we at? Oh, we're at the question marks, right? So the question marks here, I was saying about making a loop. So you press the brush down, and then you make the loop. You make these things looks bigger. Now, for example, if you want to try this one, if you want to press the brush down, then you turn 360 degree, and then you hook it like this. This will create the balance more in your question mark style, and hence it enhances the appearance of how the whole words look like. For example, if I write this word, which means to sleep, right? And then I put the question mark. If I just put normally, it doesn't seem very beautiful and very balanced. But however, what happened if I start to put a question mark like this? You see the balance here, because the thickness of the initial part where we start each of the letter, like the letter N, G, U, we see it's thicker than the body and the end of each of the letter, and hence the question mark up here follow the same concept. So we want to start with a big and a huge head and then a small tail. We want to create that balance, and hence just keep this thing in mind. But anyway, just make sure that it is natural and you do not think a lot about that, because as soon as you think a lot about that, it's very hard to express any of your emotion, because it's like you stick into a state in which you just try to focus and try to make sure everything is perfect. But actually calligraphy is not about perfect. It's actually about putting your emotion and changing the norms of how you normally write the words. Now next is we'll come to the round strokes. For example, when you write a C or an O. So for you write a C, or when you write an O. Right. Now those seems to be easy, however it takes quite a lot of skills in order to make it smooth and make it follow like it's flowing all around without stopping. Now about the letter C, as I said before, you can just do this, like draw a normal letter C, or you can turn slightly the tip of your brush to enhance the head of the letter C. And then alright, you press, okay, then you lift it a little bit here, and then you press it again, and then you just lift it up. And that's how you create the balance in the letter C. Just don't keep pressing, because it's gonna create the horseshoe symbol, which is extremely ugly, and you don't want this one. And now similarly to the letter O, you press here, you go thinner and thinner, and then you just kick it out, right? Kick it out, kick it out. It depends to you whether you kick it out or not, or you just want to round like this. It's always up to you. But I always like the looking of the kicking back like this, because it looks artistic. You know what I mean? And also one thing to keep in mind when you do the letter C and the letter O, it's not to like it overlap. Like if you make it a huge dots of ink like this, it's gonna be terrible on your any of your artwork when you do calligraphy. So just lift a space here, right? Lift a space, and similar with letter C, lift a space. It should be visible, like the space, each of the space should be visible. It shouldn't be like so small where you cannot see. Like if you, as soon as you start to make it close, it looks not very good, because the gap is still very small, and then you see a lot of ink surrounding a letter O and C, which make it look unbalanced and unprofessional. So that is the letter C and O, or any rounding letter. For example, if you write the G, it's following the same kind of thing. Or if you write the Q, it is the letter O together with this one that we have just talked about before. And if we what about the what else, letter P? So you use the thing that we talked about before together with this one, right? You can do this or you can do this, and we will talk more about this in the alphabet section. And now we should be talking about the letter G. So the letter G, the important part. So the O here, the rounding things here, we have taught about that already. But now we want this one. We want the kicking back. sorry, kicking back, something like this, kicking. So you want to press your brush here, and then you just kick. The important things about the kicking of this area is that you should make sure that it just go naturally, something like this. You don't try to hold it to a point like it's so much and you press it out like this. It looks terrible. You should try to like make it naturally, and then you see the letter G and you just kick it out like this. Now we try to practice some more of this, because I think this is a very sophisticated technique to learn, and if you master it, you can do a lot of things. For example, if I write a word with the letter G in that, right? Let's see. Alright, the letter G, okay? Ready? You see how it goes, right? It's made like a perfect circle where you can, I just control the brush at this point, and then from this point on I just let it go naturally. And you can see the black and white stuff, which many of you I think like a lot of those, because it looks natural, it looks strong, and you know you have a clear mindset of what you're gonna do. And then if you don't want to do this one, you can do a smaller version of the loop that you will create here. For example, I write the exact same word, and then you just want to create this one, but you still go naturally. That's the problem. If you cannot go naturally, it's gonna look bad. Let's see if we control the whole word, what gonna look like. Okay, this is what happened if we control the whole word without letting it go naturally. This is what happened. It's gonna look bad. Now, another alternative for writing the letter G is you don't need to make a loop, but you just make it go down like this. But I do not recommend this look because it's look rather like a Q and it doesn't show much of your skill. So that's why I'm showing you this stroke, because I think it's very helpful, especially if you're writing letter Y or letter G, because at the end of each of the words, it's always nice to have like a, you know, when you go freely, you let it go at the end of the word. It just looks great. Now, to the last one that I would like to tell you, it's about how to make a dot. Normally, people would just put this. This is a common way of putting things when we're writing with ballpoint pen or fountain pen. However, in calligraphy, people don't want to do that because it just looks like you don't know what you're doing. Now, if you want to make a dot, just put your brush down and then try to make a circle, right? Try to make a circle. Or if you want to create a sense of like natural strokes, for example, I say this one, okay? Which means 10,000. Then I don't want to put like a dot like this, but I want something round. But if you don't want something round, then just like this. Try to make a dot, but without just pinpointing the brush like this. It just looks bad and it does not fit with the calligraphy sense. Or you can do like a perfect round circle like this, or you can do it and leaving it with a gap. It just look great. The smaller you get, then you use a smaller brush, and then the same thing could still be followed, whether you make this one or you make the circle or whatever. But just make sure don't do this. It just looks bad, okay? Then I think that's all we're gonna learn about the basic strokes. And so let's know about the different things that we're gonna do, because for example, the letter G or the strokes, the horizontal one, the vertical one, you need to master those, because no matter where you go, no matter how long you do calligraphy, those still stick with you until the end of the world. I mean, it's a saying, but it's actually like that, because you use it for all of the letters, all of the words, all of the sentences that you will write in Vietnamese calligraphy. Trust me, I've been through this. Sometimes I think practicing those basic strokes are not important and just go straight away to the content, which is not correct, because you need to have the foundation, the basic foundation, in order to like advance more, because otherwise you just like when you go too advanced, but actually your calligraphy is very ugly because you don't know how things work in the basic level. So don't ever try to do the master level when you have not mastered the basic level. Okay? So now we have learned all of the basic strokes that we're gonna need. Now, one more basic foundation before you advance in anything more, it's that the alphabet. Now we should try to study the Vietnamese alphabet. So let's start now, okay? So the first letter is letter A. I mean, there's lots of things to talk about, but I will just show you, not very detailedly, because I think you can work it out by yourself. But here's the letter A, right? B. Just write slowly, D. Then in Vietnamese we have the letter D for this, with a horizontal stripe. You can go online, I mean this is easy. You can go online, you can find the calligraphy alphabet anywhere. Letter E. You can have letter F if you want. E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, N, O. Then for the O, we also have the O up here and the O, this one. Well, I mean, if it's you haven't studied Vietnamese, it's actually hard for those. And it's also similar to the letter A, which I forgot to mention. You also have this A and this A, right? You can study more about this. O, P, Q, R, S, T. For a letter U, we also have this one, and then V, W, X, Y, and Z. Z you can write like this, or you can write like this, whatever. Now, you can see that you need to master the Vietnamese alphabet before you going any further. For example, the letter, you need to know the A this, A this, A this, or O, D, D, U this. So in Vietnamese, we do not have letter F, we do not have the J, we do not have the W and Z. I mean Z rarely, but just in the past, not now. So normally most of the words we follow those, except for F, J, W, and Z. So now you need to know this, and I think in order to master the alphabet, you should spend like 2 or 3 months of practicing. I'm not kidding, because 2 or 3 months is the minimum amount of time that you need in order to do the alphabet well. Maybe you can write like me in like 2 minutes, let's say, but it's not the way that you should be practicing. You should master it before moving to combining those letters to make words. You cannot rush, because if you rush in calligraphy, as I said before, you will end up getting something which is not desirable, and you don't want that to happen, because calligraphy is something like a crystallization of culture. You don't want to rush it. You don't make it look like something just go up and then it's go down terribly. You need to master it by each of the steps, each of the steps, slowly and slowly, until you master the thing. That's the beauty of calligraphy. Now, we will go to the words, which we combine those letters together. So, for example, we do some of the letter. So I combine the N, G, and O. O with this one, and the accent here. or we want to combine the different letter, like this one is F, no, sorry, it's PHUC, which you pronounce Phúc, which is the luck. And so you see the way it's connect here. I'm trying not to connect the words by the connecting strokes because that's what make it confusing. But you just simply put the things together like this. And if you want to combine it by joining the strokes, you could do that by this way. So you see that throughout the letter, I do not lift my pen or my brush up because you want to create a connectivity, and you know things are connect together, and that makes it looks it's have the harmony inside that, and that's what you want in a calligraphy, because the calligraphy is when you change all of the rule, you change one of the rule and the standard of handwriting. However, you still need to maintain the harmony. It's not like all over the place. It's not chaotic. You shouldn't make it because that is not calligraphy anymore. That's ain't art anymore. That starts to be something which is something like a mess, which you need to tidy up, and you don't want that. Okay. And then the next step is we're gonna study how to put together those words into sentences. Again, in order to put words together, I think you should study Vietnamese, or as I said before, you can write calligraphy in English, which maybe you know already because we are members of international school in Saigon, and I hope that will help. Now, moving to the sentences.
Yo.
So we have done all of the combining the words, and again, I mean, you take a Vietnamese course, you can do it English, you can do it in Spanish, you can do it Italian, you can do whatever. I mean, even in other language where we do not use the common alphabet, maybe like Russian, you can also use the same concept, and if you're good enough, you can make this into Chinese calligraphy. I mean, it's all this the main theme of like introducing calligraphy to you, it's about globalization. So you want to use the similar concept, but you develop a different kind of culture so that you know you can blend the culture together, which is our main aim nowadays in the 21st century. And now coming back to this one, we're doing the sentences now. About the sentences, it's mean the content that we're gonna write in our calligraphy artwork. So calligraphy is a kind of a beautiful art where it's originated from a long time ago, and it's linked like very strongly together with like the monarchy and the stuff like the old-fashioned and the vintage vibe. So we could not write the bold statement, for example. If you want to show your emotion, you want to express your emotion, that's completely fine. However, you cannot just like write on an artwork like I want to show my emotion, and then you start going beep this, beep that, beep beep beep. No, like don't use the bold words or making any bold statements, because it's gonna destroy the meaning and the theme of calligraphy as a whole. And it's also usually you write something that sounds poetic and it's come from literature rather than I go to school today, or I meet my friends and her name is whatever, Julia. But you don't write those kind of things. You're not telling a story in this. So in order to choose a sentence for a calligraphy work, make sure that it's meaningful, it's like poetic and have some link with literature, it's beautiful, and it's have like a implied meaning into that, you know, it's contain a message. It's not like you tell a story, it should be something quite abstract where you get people to think and then try to understand the emotion that you try to convey in the artwork. That's the main aim, okay? And now I will try to show you some of the way of putting together sentences. I'll do it in Vietnamese only, and actually you don't really need to understand the meaning, so I won't explain to you the meaning. That's time consuming, and I don't want to waste your time. However, you can find the sentences that fit the criteria that I've just mentioned and then write it down as calligraphy style. It's gonna be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
So now it's the first sentence. I'm gonna write in a smaller brush so that I can write more into the paper, okay? So, well, it's actually a long session where you just hear the complete silence, um, looking at me writing this poem. It's actually a poem, and you can see. I hope this better quality than the before that I've shown you before. So it's written in the some of the skills I haven't taught you because those are advanced skills. For example, the overly curvy things like this and how you integrate it. Like you can see one vertical lines only, but we use that for a letter D here, and then we use it again for a letter T here. And similar to this, we use a letter G here, but then we fix it and we have another letter G here. And so it's integrated together and it's filling up. It is not something that you would normally see when you handwrite something. So you can see here, I make it go over like this, and you see how the word organized. Two words, two words, two words, one word, then four words, three words, and then five words, two words, and it's actually quite random, but it feels good, and it's have the harmony inside here. So it's linked to the thing that I've told you before, because although calligraphy, it's mean you try to change all the standard of the change of the norms of how you write words, but it should create the harmony. You should try to have it so that you feel balanced and it's not overwhelming all over the place. And you can see when you write slowly and you put your emotions on. That's why I'm really sorry, but I cannot talk while I perform like something very serious like this. I talk while I do the different things that I have shown you before, because those are like tutorial to show you how to do the things. But this one is like I'm performing how to do this one, and hence I need to have the full concentration, and hence I cannot talk. So I hope that you can be with me now, because it's been a very long session of me just writing this. But I hope that you notice each of the skills and each of the movements and the strokes that I have done on this paper, because I think those are worthy to be considered and to be carefully looked at, and then try to learn, try to copy it somehow, try to imitate whether you can do it or not. However, try to master the basic first before you can come to this. This is how you put words together in a sentence, and then you try to integrating things, different things together. So those are quite advanced skills. Also, you have seen that I've used some of the capital letters here. So for the basic level, I strongly recommend that we will just focus on the alphabet that I showed you before of the lowercase letter, and then just try to make it bigger so that it's become capitalized. Do not try to invent, or do not try to look for another capital alphabet, because then you need to study two alphabet of the lowercase and the uppercase, which is harder for you. If you want to do it, okay, but like I do not recommend that, because I want to make sure that you master all the basic first before you want to do more of that. You can see here when I write the word bigger, like the letter C, if I write bigger, it's become capitalized or whatever. You can see? Okay. So I think that's leads us to an end of today's session. We've learned quite a lot of basic stuff here. It sounds basic and just like 40 minutes. However, it's a lot to practice here. And in order to master all of the skills, like including this that I've shown you in this video, I think that you need about 6 months to a year in order to master those, and then to the next level of try to write, actually doing artwork, something like this level. But okay, so in conclusion, what do we get from today? You need to remember all of the strokes, so I think that you should go back to the beginning of the video, try to look at the strokes that I've told you, like I've shown you how to do, and be careful about the brush pushing, like how you're pressing the brush down, how you lift it up, how you make the black and white scratchy strokes. And then about the alphabet, just try to make it bigger if you want capitalized, and try to learn the Vietnamese accents, like the 6 accent that you put on words, and try to learn the Vietnamese language so that you understand what is that, how to put words together in Vietnamese language, or you can do it in English or any other language that you may feel like doing. And then you put things together in a sentence, but just put it at the first stage. Just try putting it together. You don't need to care a lot about the harmony or how to integrate letters, because I do not think about how do I organize the calligraphy work, but it just naturally comes as you do that a lot. I've done this since I was in grade 2, and now I'm in grade 10, which is like 8 years, and hence I know what to do. And then when I just like write, it just naturally come to an organized and harmonical kind of sense. So do not need to care about like those advanced things like long and overly extended stuff like this, or integration of letters like this, or the harmony, or how to make it big and sometimes make it small. Don't need to care about that. Just try to put things together, and then that's it. So thank you for listening, and see you again in session number 3, which below. Thank you for listening. See you.